Our hand is trash. I would hate to see myself calling, but obviously I know I call. Okay, so we have quite a fun setup here. We've gone back to 2014 and we're looking at some of the high stake heads up sit and go games against none other than the legendary Wookers, who is also known as Jungleman. Jungleman has gone on to be a high stakes cash game player who is just crushing the world apart and making loads of money, and I am sitting here grinding online poker as if I'm still in 2014. The game evolved a lot from 2014. I didn't even know what the term GTO meant in 2014. I managed to grow to build my way up from a $100 deposit all the way up to playing the nosebleeds with about $450,000 roll, playing a studied strategy, but with just a lot of relentless aggression and exploitative play. Obviously, I've since been studying GTO quite heavily. I was almost wiped out by bots. So I was forced to adapt or be extinct in the game, and so I chose to adapt. So yeah, this takes us back then to 2014, and we're just going to go over the biggest pots. We are going to be using Insta GTO to aid us. I've already run the first hand we're going to come across. It might lag while I do run some hands, and that's the reason why I just restarted it. What I'll do though is pause it when it's loading, just because we don't want to waste your time. But so as it is, we'll just replay all the hands here, and yeah. So obviously, first hand I just saw this a minute ago. It's just an all-in pre, standard stuff. No one's getting away from that one. Second hand, very interesting hand. So here, on this board texture, these stack sizes, we would nowadays just bet 1BB into this as a range c-bet. When we've got a one board way with a middling card and a deuce on it, it doesn't allow button to have too many two-pair combos. But we do still have King X, and it does favor our range for having stronger hands in terms of Ace King, King Queen. Obviously, our opponent can still have King Queen, but sometimes he would be rejamming it and free betting it at some percentage. So we just kind of like have a range advantage on this board. So we would bet 1BB on this board. He decides to go 2. On this turn, with the 4 of hearts, I would love to see a nice big bet. It's 1 overcard to the 6. 4-5 never got there. 4-5 of hearts obviously improves, but he blocks the 4 of hearts, so that's a minus for his hand. But given that on the turn, not much is defined on my range, he definitely wants to be going for a size up, folding us out some hands here. And on the river, here, obviously, our hand is trash. Pretty much all of his turn barrels have improved now to 1 pair at least. He's going to still have some bluff combos. We can have a look at them in a minute. But yeah, I would hate to see myself calling, but obviously I know I call, and yeah, which was pretty kind of horrendous of me, and actually very well played by Wookers. So I did run this obviously just a minute ago, and on the flop, he is supposed to bet his entire range pretty much, other than some queen nines and stuff like that, which makes sense because we've got some backdoor draws, showdown, and etc., and 2 overs to the 6. And I'm going to still have all the combos that kind of continue, and he's going to need some solid checkbacks, and it makes sense to have these ones with backdoor equity, and just 2 overs to the 6. So he does do an incorrect size on the flop, but yeah, our hand is mainly a call, but EV of calling and raising to 5.2 is impartial, so either one would be fine with this particular combo because we can still improve if called. And say if we did re-raise and became a cub, we have comfortable check calls in our range. Once the 9 comes, he is, so obviously our check is correct, and his Jack 4 with the Jack of Spades, 4 of Hearts, he is supposed to be sizing up. He's supposed to be sizing up with quite a bit of his range, but obviously at this point he's not supposed to have bet 2 BBs on the flop, so it has like kind of skewed the range here, but he would have a much bigger range and he would be continuing with quite a lot of it, having such a range advantage. The only thing that we have more of now at this point is flush draws. So once he sizes this size, our call is definitely correct. We're just doing a bit better than folding at this point. To raise or anything would be crazy. All of our values pretty much with his bluffs and the fact that we still can improve sometimes. So we call. Then the Queen of Diamond, when it comes, of course, we've still got a check in our hand, and he is supposed to go all in with every Jack 4 other than the Jack 4 he has, well, any time it has a 4 of Hearts. The reason being is the Hearts is going to be the worst combo for the barrel, because the 4-5 of Hearts in our range that call the flop, 3-4 of Hearts in our range that call the flop, he's blocking that, and that's like going to be a big part of our folding range at this point. The Jack of Hearts is not so bad. A lot of our Jack of Heart combos, well, some of them will check raise turn with some equity, I guess. If we have a look at that, Jack. Yeah, so look, Jack 10 of Hearts, which would obviously be a combo. We can raise sometimes with the Jack. Jack 7 of Hearts raising. Yes, I didn't actually look at this last time, but it makes sense to why the Jack isn't as worrisome as for example, even the 4-5 of Hearts is raising. So I guess the 4 of Hearts isn't even our range. So actually it's probably just checking to checking here. It's probably just checking to have some checks in. It's like super close on EV anyway. I can't explain exactly why it's minus EV, but it's super close anyway. So his jam is definitely better than my call anyway. Yeah, as you see, my call is pretty horrendous on the river. So 1.2, good old Jungleman, and on to the next hand. Okay, so straight away we see I'm doing some crazy things here. We are shallow enough that I can run this. We should be pretty much checking back always, and if we were to ISO, I can actually get some charts up to see for sure. Against the limp 6-7, it's pretty much always checking back. But if it does ISO, it does use a smaller size or an all-in, but it's like so rare. So it's not as bad as I originally thought. So this ISO is not the worst. Probably want to go 3 BBs. But at the time, I guess I was used to playing deeper stacks, and this was shallow stacks for me, so it makes sense to why I got to this conclusion that it was okay to do. On the flop, on this board texture with middle pair, I think we'd like a range c-bet on this board. I don't mind the sizing, probably mix between that and a bit smaller. Yeah, I think we'll just quickly pause it, and I'm going to run this, and then we'll get back to it. Okay, so I've run it. We'll just see how I played the hand. So I checked the turn after getting called on the flop, and then river. He piles it, and I clearly make the hero call. He has the good old 4-5. Okay, so I don't like my hero call on the river, but let's have a little run over it. I haven't looked over this. I just ran it, and we're here now. So the size, so let's go back to here. So my sizing on the flop, 6-7, it wants to go like 1.2 BBs or 2.5 BBs, mainly 1.2 BBs, but the EV difference is nothing in it. So me going 2 BBs, pretty interesting. Obviously, we should now look at his 4-5 is obviously calling. All the 4-5s are just calling. Turn comes 5. So now with the 6-7, it's just checking. We can see the percentages. If we go now to 6-7, it's checking 100% of the time. So it's fine there. Once we check, he bet the 4-5. He bet in between. He bet 6 into 9 for the purpose of getting stats correct, because obviously I used a non-GTO size on the turn, on the flop. Sorry, I just put it as a half pot just to get stacks pretty much set up exactly correct for the river. Obviously 6-7 would be check calling 100% of the time. Got to open it a straight draw, wouldn't be going anywhere. And then on the 5 river, I check, of course, 6-7 checking, and he piles to 4-5, of course, and we called. Now let's see, is our call correct? Oh, so actually we're supposed to call pretty much always. So yeah. So I guess equal points there. We're both playing a little GTO, it seems. So free betting the aces, obviously standard.